Hey everybody, how you doing today? Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday morning. I know we are. I want to welcome you to a brand new Bash U Live. We got a great show lined up for you today. In the studio with us, of course, we got Jocelyn sitting to my left and pushing buttons, making plays. We got Rizzo on the board today. Guys, how you doing?
Great, great. It was a really great weekend, and I know you were traveling, and I know you probably were fishing.
Probably was fishing. Yeah.
Probably.
Probably was fishing. I was doing a lot more casting than I was catching this weekend, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
So Pete and Mike were traveling. You were fishing. Now it's their turn.
Yeah.
That's
Now
right.
now it's time to get back into it. Well, I hope you're having a great day. We got a great show for you today. Joining us in just a second here, we got Pete Gluszek. The Dean is on the water live. That's kind of cool. I love when we do live on the water.
Right.
He's going to give us an update on what's going on down at Kerr Reservoir, Bugs Island. Big Bass Open going on this week down there. And then in the second segment, the guest is me. I haven't been on a show in so long, guys. I'm glad I'm the guest. So I'm the host and the guest this week. But we're going to be talking about really cool stuff. We're going to be going into a little bit of what's been going on the last few tournaments. But more importantly, seriously, Jocelyn, Riz, I am so stoked to let you guys know the system that I'm using right now. And dude, I'm so jacked up on it. Like I can't honestly, I can't stop thinking about it. How good this system is on finding fish, breaking down bodies of water, and learning a body of water like you've lived there for 10 years and doing it in 3 days or less.
I'm excited.
I got a
to hear
great
that.
system that I'm going to show you. But before we get into that, let me remind you, man, this is the place to learn more about bass fishing. Joss, what do we got going on? We got some deals going on right now. What's happening with Bass U?
So right now we have a really, really great offer. If you're not already subscribed, head over to Bash University because we have a great offer. We partnered with Strike King and VMC with the Red Line. You can get an annual subscription for $119 and you get 2 Strike Kings. Rich, you're gonna help me with the Rich?
No, it's we're going with the flippin' flash sale. And we're giving away a Strike King rodent and a Strike King rage bug, a VMC Red Line flipping hook, and VMC tungsten weights. So it's an entire flipping and pitching pack. Just sign up at bashu.tv. $119.99 gets you a full year, and you get an awesome prize pack for signing up.
Don't
guys.
forget, you get that hat that Rich is wearing as well.
That's right.
Hat.
That's dope.
The camo Bass U hat. It's a hot commodity, hot item.
Yeah.
We also have some stuff we're giving away on today's show.
We are. Yeah. So our grand prize is going to be a Rapala prize pack with some Rapala DT6s, the Ike Demon color, three Rapala hats. And we're also doing a like and share. So head over to our Facebook page, hit that like and share button, and you will walk away with some D-bombs from Missile Baits.
In case you're wondering why we chose the DT6, this is why.
Wow, look at that thing. Dude, isn't that great? I posted that, Riz, that was the last day of the tournament, and I was fortunate enough not to lose that plug. So that's 3 days of work on that plug. But I love when they look like that.
Yep.
Dude, I actually prefer that they look like that. Yep. And I got a theory about that. I'll even talk about a little later. Okay. But let's jump right into Pete.
Yeah.
I want to get with Pete because he's in an area of the lake that has signal, which I know can be rare sometimes when you're fishing a big, vast lake like that. So joining us from Kerr Reservoir, a.k.a. Bugs Island, the Dean of the University, Pete Gluszek. Pete, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, Mike. I can't tell you what a treat it is to have you back in the studio, except for I'm not there with you. You know?
I know. Well, first things first, it feels great to be back here in studio doing another BU Live with you guys. And I just want to say, I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in so long. I feel like I've been on the road for about 3 months. So I do miss you, Pete. I hope everything's good.
I miss you too. And I got to say, we've been rooting hard for you. And it's been a treat to watch. You know, you just the awesome part about the way you fish is early in the day, it's like you're always at the top of the leaderboard. You know?
Whacking on them.
Yeah.
It is, man. It's like, bam, you know, it's 8 o'clock in the morning and you're in second or first or third or something, you know, every day. That's pretty awesome. You've been getting on them early and staying on them. So, man, congratulations on a beginning of this season. It's been pretty awesome to watch.
Thank you. Thank you. Feels good. Definitely have momentum going. I know that you know how much that means in the sport. I have a lot of momentum going, but I'm excited, Pete. I'm actually going to dive into in the second segment exactly where I think a lot of this success for me is driven this year. And it's this system that I've created. So, Pete, I know like privately, we talked about it at the Classic. We had dinner one night and I was raving about the system I'm using. And I'm stoked to share it with everybody today on BU Live. So I give a lot of credit to that system. We're going to be talking about that. But right now, we need to know what's going on with you because this is a big tournament. This is a big event. Of course, this is a Bass Open. This is one of the qualifiers for the guys trying to get to the elites. And for guys just fishing the Northerns like you, this is the first tournament of the year. So give us an update, Pete. I want to know a little bit about conditions. What do you expect? Kerr Reservoir has a lot of history in tournament bass fishing, man, over the years. A lot of great wins there, a lot of big weights caught. So give us an update. What's happening at Kerr?
Well, there's the elite qualifiers, right? The EQs are all here.
Yeah.
I'm in the CQs. I'm in the classic qualifiers program.
Right. That makes sense. Yep.
That's what I'm doing here. So, I'm trying to fish to win. I love it. It's so fun to fish these tournaments, but I'm rooming with Ish and, we were talking about that exact thing. We were reliving. Remember the Randy Blau kit, sink your boat, get under the flipping tournament,
Yes.
That's history. This place has been, I remember Ish and I were talking about Denny Brower fishing, up kind of in the off-colored water upriver one year winning.
Yeah.
So much history here. Dude, it is in flux. It is absolutely in flux down here. We had the water was falling pretty dramatically. Like here, right? The magic number here, you probably remember, is 302 lake level.
Yep.
Right? That 302 number, the water's in the bushes, everything gravitates towards that. Well, it was like that. It was a 302 before we got here. And the first day of my practice, it was down to 301 and dropping.
Wow.
And so it was at its low point, and then we got dumped on by a massive amount of rain. Now it's at 303.6 or something like that. It's up and rising still every day because there's that lag, like when the rain events happen.
Yeah.
It takes a little while for the river to crest, and before the lake they'll start pulling it down.
Right.
So yeah, it's still rising every day. And I tell you, the thing that's really crazy about this tournament right now is it's going to be a game of ounces.
Right.
The tournaments have been being won between 12 to 14 pounds, which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Like the current member, it was 17 to 20 something winning tournament. But they've there's been a reset here at the lake. And I got to say, there's a million fish in this lake right now.
Big numbers. Big numbers. Yeah.
I mean, you can catch them the way you want to catch them right now. You'll get a lot of guys, scoping and, using their Mega Live, and out on the deep stuff, you'll see, the herring thing isn't quite happening yet, but it's about to. We've got a spawn thing that's starting to take hold, and the bushes are all flooded. So, I mean, it's just, I honestly think it's like pick the way you want to fish,
right,
and do that
right.
to try to maximize your chance of getting one of those bigger than average fish, because that's the key. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good thing, right? Though, with a big field, I know one of the things with the Opens is a tremendous number of anglers. You guys have what, probably
225,
200 plus. That's a good thing to spread the field out. I think is to have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different ways to catch them. But Pete, as you were talking, I got to stop you real quick because this to me is one of those moments where guys can learn, and I struggle with this concept. You've got rising water right now. And traditionally, the book says rising water, rising fish. But I cannot tell you how many times, like a good example for me recently, about 6 years ago, I fished with Dave Mansu, Bull Shoals, and the water was 30 foot high, Pete. Rising water, 30 foot high. And I caught him on the original bank line. Fish that did not rise with the rising water. Talk a little bit about that and what's going to happen at Kerr this week. Are they going to rise with the water, or are they going to stay where they've been spawning? Are they going to stay where they've been eating blueback herring? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, to both questions.
Yes and yes.
Yes.
They are going to stay and they are going to move, you know. I think that's what's happening, and I think that's what I'm seeing. Though, you know, I think we've seen this before, right? A fish that commits to a spawn, you know, the water will get deeper, but they're going to stay there on that nest, you know, and see it through. But you know, I'm seeing this rising water. I'm seeing, you know, the carp are up in it. The carp are moving up. The bluegill are moving up, and the bass are moving up with them. You know, so you know, it's so dynamic here. It's kind of fun, and to be honest with you, I think it's gonna be adjustment as the tournament progresses. You know, like we talk about that developing pattern. I think, you know, it's developing now, and I think there's a lot of fish here. There's a lot of water fluctuation, and I think things change really rapidly here. It's reminding me of fishing a darn Chesapeake, you know, like
tide.
It's
tide. Yeah.
There are fish still hanging on that low. I call it the low tide mark.
Yeah.
And there are still fish doing that, and there's fish moving up. I think what's going to happen is probably today or tomorrow it's going to crest, and then the water's going to start dropping again.
Right.
And what's that going to do to them? You know what I mean? Like, well, you've seen this probably a lot more than anybody. Like, when that water starts falling, sometimes they get weird. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do. Yeah.
Maybe they're biting and they're crushing baits now, and when the water starts falling, all of a sudden, you know, it ain't that easy to get all those bites.
Yeah. Know exactly what you're talking about. That's interesting because the way that you're explaining this, it's going to be interesting to hear about the winning technique, because I agree. I think it's going to be a game of change. Like, I don't think the guy that's winning the first day is necessarily going to be the guy that wins the tournament, right? I think it'll be someone that's able to adjust and change with the changing conditions. So super interesting. Let me remind everybody too, we're taking comments and stuff today too, right? So if you're watching or listening right now and you have a comment, you got a question for Pete, send it through. Josh, we
actually have a couple.
We have a couple. Okay.
Howie Range would like to know a question for both of you.
Yo, Howie, yo.
Pete and Mike, how long ago was the last bass derby on Bugs Island, and has the lake changed much since then?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, Pete, but I can tell you the last time I fished Bugs was a Everstart, the old version of the modern day Toyota series, and I won that.
That's right.
Yeah, but that was in the fall, and I won fishing hydrilla in Little Nutbush, which I know I've sort of heard that submergent grass is non-present, Pete, as of right now. Is that correct?
I couldn't find any.
Okay.
Then that was a big guess. One of the things that I did as soon as I got here was look around, because what they'll do is the Army Corps is all over this. As soon as they see that grass take root, they get after and try to,
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I remember that tournament, man. That was a great win, man. You got the big trophy.
Yeah, I want to say that was like 07 or 08. So I know that was the last event that I fished there, but you know, the New Jersey Nation, I think, has had a lot of events there in the last, say, 10 years. A lot of big tournaments. I know BFLs go out of there all the time still. So it gets a fair amount of pressure. It's not like it gets no tournament pressure, you know?
Out of that.
Yeah.
I tell you what's cool about this place and makes it very unique is there's not a house on every inch of the shoreline.
Right.
And still that way. Like that's me. Like every lake we travel to across the country is just, you know, house after house after dock after dock.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's still a tremendous amount of natural shoreline here, which makes it.
Because I thought everyone liked the fish docks.
There are docks here, Josh. People, I do love to fish them, and there are dock patterns here, but just not as many as you would see in other places. It's nice to, like right now, I'm in a cove that's nothing but, you know, it's nothing but willow bush, flooded willows and trees. There's not a house in sight, you know.
Wow.
So pretty cool place. But I don't remember, Howie, when the last bass tournament was. I can't remember the last time it was here, but it's cool that they're back, and we're out of Clarksville, which is going to add another variable, right? That's there by the big bridge, and I think it's going to be piping at about 20 miles an hour tomorrow. So,
oh man, that'll be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have a sporty boat ride in the morning. You know.
Wow.
We also have a question from our very own Epic Eric.
Yo, Epic Eric. Yo.
He would like to know, he would like to know what your winning weight prediction is, and also what will dominate patter be?
Man, you know, I don't know the dominant pattern. You know, but I can guess the winning weights. I've seen 12 to 14 pounds. I think it's going to be on the higher side of that. I think it's fishing a little bit better with the rising water. I talked to a bunch of guys that are really excited about it, and I can tell you this, the water's rising. I like it when I have a flipping stick in my hand. I'm going to hedge my bets. It's going to be a shallow water derby, and that's what I'm going after.
It was a good question. Speaking of that, Pete, and it on the same lines with what you just said, when you showed us the back there, it was a cool image of what you guys are dealing with when you talk about flooded conditions. And just in that shot right there, I see like 3 different kinds of things going on there. I see trees, I see bushes, I see willows. Talk about that, because I think for people listening and watching right now, flooded water can be intimidating. How are you going to pick that apart? How are you going to, are they going to get on one type of thing? Or are they going to use it all? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to identify, because this is a great pattern lake, as you know.
Yeah.
It's got infinite shoreline miles of, if you want to fish willow trees, you can just run and fish them, or you want to fish clay points, you can find a million of them to fish. But you're right. We've got flooded willows, we've got hardwoods, we've got pines, and trying to figure out what these fish are set up on is the shallow water play, right? And I think what's going on too is there's pre-spawn fish, and then I think there's spawn fish, and the pre-spawn are using different types of habitat. I think the spawn fish are more open oriented, right? They got to have the sunshine on them,
Right.
And then you've got all these flooded bushes. I mean, gosh almighty, when you get in some of these pockets, you're like, all right, where the heck do I throw?
Yeah.
But here's what I found is, like, when you get in one of these areas, it's more about finding an area that has fish, when the biomass moves in, there's bluegills, there's carp, there's gar, and there's bass. And I've found these fish set up on every single one of those things you're talking about,
Yeah. So having the circle of life be in those flooded areas is the most important element.
Most important, because right now it's not, how it can get flooded where it goes on forever.
Right.
It's not that flooded. Like it's crawling up the banks, but it's not spilled over the banks. So everything's pretty contained. You don't have to deal with that stuff. But man, we've got 64-degree water temps. We've got a full moon coming.
Wow.
I think the carp are spawning. I think the bluebacks are starting to go. I think the bass are having another round. I personally think this is the second round of spawn. I don't know. We're not from here, but I'm figuring they probably had a strong spawn in April, and now they're going to have round 2, probably maybe the biggest spawn, of the year coming right now.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm going to get in the dirt, man. I'm going to follow that water wherever it goes. They keep because I had that one good Toyota tournament where I was on that herring spawn bite. I don't know if you remember that, but that's such a fun bite. It's a top water. It's what that's, and I'm keeping that honest. So
I mean, that's a great point. Howie had that question, when was the last tournament? But years ago in this fishery, there were no blueback herring, right? So this is a more modern thing with this forage type.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that gone on? Is the blueback herring spawn gone on? And bigger question is that an essential element to win, finding that forage or being around the bluebacks?
I think it is. It's hard to say. I think it's probably going to be a spawn-oriented shallow water tournament. That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So forage base is not. I don't think is going to be as important.
Right.
But you're absolutely right, Mike. Because you remember when like Fritz and David Wright and all those guys were cranking here.
Oh yeah.
Back when the shad forage base,
Yeah.
And it was all about getting into that 18 to 22 foot depth, throwing them and trying to hit that stump. And the bluebacks have really radically changed that, and that's a huge change, Howie. I mean, back to the question and your point, Mike. The blueback's been here for a decade or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if a guy can get on that, because I think it's if the bluebacks are spawning doing that, it's at the very beginning. It's probably not going on in very many places at all yet. It really gets going in June when the water gets up closer to 70, and I would be surprised if that wins this tournament, but it could.
It could.
How long does that bite go on once the bluebacks start doing their thing? Like, does it last a week, 2 weeks, 2 months?
I can tell you this. I'll tell you this real quick. I don't know the exact answer to time, but when it's gone on, know it. Because at Lake Murray, it was so obvious. Like, the best explainer of it is like when you get around a point, and it had to be flat, it had to have some hard stuff on the bottom. You'd reel your bait back. You'd have half a dozen to a dozen herring trying to hump your lure at all times.
Right.
They were, trying to have sex with your lure as you're reeling it back.
I had some lure.
You know when it's gone on.
Like,
Can I say sex on you?
What's that?
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I had some herring starting to follow my spinnerbait back today for the first time I've seen it.
Wow. Yeah.
It's close. But yeah, I think that rising water, shallow water deal, that's what I'm going to do. And I think that's probably what's going to, I think it's probably going to be 13.5 pounds a day to 13 3/4 to win.
Gotcha.
Wow. It's crazy
low.
You say that, because it's so much lower than what I was thinking in my mind. In my mind, I was at 16 to 17 pounds a day to win. I was
thinking too.
Yeah.
And it's incredible that you're telling me that,
I couldn't believe it either. I mean, the results, now I haven't set the hook on everything, but man, you just get a lot of 1.5 pound fish. There's just a massive amount of them. And the tournament results don't lie. I mean, you got local guys that are here fishing team tournaments, and the best they can manage is 14 pounds to win,
with 2 guys. Yeah.
With 2 guys.
Right.
I'll tell you what it's going to come down to. There's still a lot of 4 to 6 pounders in this lake. Oh, yeah. And man, if you can get one of those a day, it'll skyrocket you, because
One of those
it's
one day it even helps.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, that becomes an important fish when the
Yeah.
lake's loaded with 1.5 to 2 pounders.
Yep.
A
Mhm.
4, 5, 6 pounder is a game changer for sure.
Ounces are going to be everything
Yeah.
in this derb. You know, and what's cool is like I ran into Bobby Lane, Ish. By the way, both of which are on Bass U, but Ish's flipping and frogging seminars, I mean, are tailor suited for what we're dealing with here.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's he's the best at it. It's funny, we were talking about flipping, and as he was talking to me, I'm like, it just I heard that exact dialogue on his seminar, and it's available to all you guys over at Bass U TV, so you definitely want to go check that out. But it's cool to see like guys of that caliber here, Bobby Lane and Ish, and I know there's a ton of guys that are trying to get back into the elites. Is pretty cool. I also bumped into Justin Kimmel, who's down here taking his shot, and we were talking. I was talking with him. This place reminds him a lot of Hartwell, and I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
It
of course, it's got
does.
bluebacks, but it is very similar to
You
Hartwell.
look
Isn't
at
it?
it on a map, it looks
Very much like
similar.
Hartwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Hartwell has massive undeveloped sections there as well, so
Yeah.
very interesting. I think you're right. The Ish seminar is a good one that could potentially win. And the Blueback Herring seminar. I opened up my Bassmaster magazine today and saw that we have a Brandon Cobb Blueback Herring seminar. So if you're watching and listening right now and you need a refresher on that, that's another good one, because he's as good as they get with that bite, so definitely want to check that one out too.
Yep.
I have more questions for you, Pete.
Oh, Pete, we've got more questions coming in.
Rick would like to know.
Yeah, Rick.
You can kill a ton of practice time searching those flooded willows. How will you pinpoint key areas to maximize your practice day?
Mm.
Man, it takes a long time, and I got to give a big shout out to Epoch batteries. I mean, I have my trolling motor on 10, and I am burning, trying to move as efficiently as I can, because there's so much shoreline here, Mike. It's 1,000,000 miles teams, and that, like we talked about earlier, Rick. What I'm looking for is, number one, of course, if I get a bite, great. But I'm looking for the biomass. I'm looking for bluegills, because you'll go through 1,000,000 of these pockets and shorelines,
Yeah.
and you don't see anything. It's just there's no life there for whatever reason, and and so I keep burning and burning and burning. But what's something that's intriguing to me, Mike, and I don't know, I got to try to strategize around this. Is I've had a few places where I've gotten like one bite. And I'm thinking to myself, with the conditions that we're facing right now, those kinds of places could be the kinds of places, like normally I would write them off. But I'm thinking I might have to revisit them during the tournament, because that just may be the indicator that there's more fish pulling in.
Right. Right. Yeah. The only other thing I'd add to what you just said, because I've had that experience at Kerr before, is how the flooded stuff is, where it's geographically set up, has been important for me, because like I remember fishing a tournament there, and it was like they wanted the flooded stuff on the outside points, or they wanted the flooded stuff in the pockets, right? So geographically, I'm targeting which of those bushes based on how it's set up in the lake, and that can be important as well. So two good answers for right there.
I'm just looking here out at the points, and I see willows. They're back here in the pocket, but I see them out on the too. I see hardwoods out on the point. There's just infinite. You're exactly right. I think that's a huge key. If they're back in on the habitat back here, they're probably spawn oriented, but there's tons of pre-spawn oriented fish too.
Coming and going. Right.
Yep.
Coming and going. What else we got, Jess?
Our subscriber Jay wants to know, what is your goal for this event? Do you plan, other than winning, what is your goal for the Opens this year, since they changed the rules?
Well, they changed the rules. Oh, for as far as the
get into for the class.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you know, my goal is to get back to the classic. I want to try to get back to the classic through the opens. So I'm fishing probably a little differently than some of the guys in the tournament. I'm willing to risk a little bit more because, you know, the points are really not a factor in my tournament here. And, you know, so I'm going, you know, I'm going to take some risk. Like I said, talking about fishing some of those areas that I only saw a little bit of life, hoping that they heavily populate this week. You know, that's a risk that I think might be able to put me in the way of getting some of those bigger fish and fishing some of those areas that aren't getting any pressure, because there's not a lot of fish in them right now, so everybody's writing it off. You know, and they could be collecting fish. So yeah, I'm a high risk, high reward. I'm trying to fish to my strengths, and I'm trying to fish to win. And you know, that's my. I wish I had the magic button. I don't. You know, I wish I'd say, hey, you know, I know how to catch 4-pounders all day, but I think it's going to be about getting bites, like getting 15 to 25 bites a day. I think will put me in a position to have a shot at some of those 3-pounders, you know?
Right.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of risks, do you see, when I think of risks, I think of two things: guys picking up a big bait and not putting it down. Will that one play? And then the second thing I think of on risks is running away from everybody, which on Kerr means way up the Roanoke or way up the Dan, right? It's got 2 river arms to it. Are either of those going to happen in this tournament?
I think they will happen. You know, I've talked to some of the glide bait guys, and there's been bites and follows. I think there's going to, you know, that's going to be a factor. The Roanoke, I don't think so. I don't think it's the time of year for that. And it also got a massive amount of rain, which the water temperature dropped and it got real muddy. I could be wrong, right? So some people will fly right in the face of what I'm saying and maybe go up there and smash them. But I don't think the Roanoke. I do think the big bait thing is potentially a factor in this derby. I'm going to have a couple tied on.
Ooh, wow.
Hey now,
the
Pete.
Dean with big baits. Oh, man. You better document that because I don't believe it.
Seriously.
I want to see photos.
32-44. We'll cut the clip.
Yeah. Photographic proof. I need to see it. You know, evidence.
Well,
Pete.
Spinning rod in one hand and the 12-inch glide in the other, you know?
Well, Pete, great update from Kerr. Starts tomorrow, correct? It starts a day early.
Yes. Yeah.
Starts tomorrow. We're all going to be watching, pulling for you. I wish you hope you have a great tournament. And the information you gave us was great. Great info on what's going on Bugs Island right now, and looking forward to a good derby, man. Can't wait to watch it.
Hopefully I'm high up in the standings like you have been. I'm going to try to take that momentum and get going early tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, but congratulations on your success, and I'll catch up with you next week when I get back.
Sounds good.
Pete, real quick, our subscribers are really disappointed that you're dry right now and not wet.
Pete, fall in for us real quick.
Just jump in.
Come on. You can do it.
If it was 75, I'd oblige, but too cold.
All right. Thanks for checking in, Pete.
Good luck, Pete.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys soon.
All right. There you have it. Pete Gluszek, everybody. Yes. The Dean. That was a good check-in, dude.
Yeah,
that was a good check-in. I honestly like this fishery for a big field like this. I think it's going to spread out. Guys are going to do a lot of different stuff.
How big is the field?
200. What did we say? 20 something?
225. I want to say that. Not sure, but it's a lot of.
That's a lot of boats. But Kerr, even at only 36 or 38,000 or whatever it is, fish is extremely big, like Hartwell, because it's got so many fingers and nooks and crannies, and
I mean, so many pockets and just
a lot,
like creeks, and everything. It's like there's an unlimited amount of targets. And when I was there 2 years ago, we had it at 299.5.
Yeah,
and it was like every 10th pocket you could find water in the bushes, and it was a bite.
Right.
You know, and they have them in every
pocket,
And it
every
may-
point, every pocket.
It
Yeah.
may still be 1 out of every 10 pockets is a bite, but just to have that much
Yeah.
fishable cover, it's
Yeah.
like, it's like a shallow water guy's dream, you know,
Yeah.
to be able to just lock a flipping stick in your hand.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They're also dealing with a lot of cold weather for this time of the year. And I saw like
Yeah.
their nights are like almost like in the high 40s, which is crazy. It's Virginia, North Carolina border,
Right.
and they're in the high 40s at night. Come on,
Yeah.
man, that's like cold.
We're dealing with the same thing here.
Yeah.
Man. I had to turn the fireplace back on yesterday, and it was 90 a week ago. So
crazy,
you know,
crazy.
kind of crazy.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to our new subscriber, Wayne. He said he just signed up and he can't wait to see all this content. Welcome,
Yeah,
Wayne.
Wayne,
Awesome.
I'm really excited.
you're
to
gonna
have
love
you.
it, Wayne.
Yeah, we got a subscriber shout out here too. We have a subscriber with an awesome spotted bass down there. Sent it in to us, and that is Brian Jenkins. Nice spotted bass, Brian Jenkins. That's a big old spotted dog right
That's a
there.
big
So,
spot. Yeah.
Thanks for being a subscriber. We appreciate you.
Heck yeah. I couldn't tell. See, I was looking at the little TV. I wasn't turned. And I thought it was a beard with an MLF logo in the beard, but it's just a face mask. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Real quick, we had a question while Pete was on, but I didn't get a chance to answer. But I feel like you might be able to answer this. Will Shelby wants to know the areas you're fishing in the morning. Are you circling back to those areas later in the day to see if time of day makes a difference?
Yeah. So I'll answer this as a big general. I would say a lot of the times, especially key areas, you are revisiting that area throughout the day. And, you know, I think in the morning, you tend to have a tendency to get a really active feeding bite, but they don't leave, right? You know,
Right.
they're like still in that area, but they just sort of settle down. They get slower and lower. So a lot of times when I revisit, I have to alter my approach,
Gotcha.
right? So I'm fishing fast in the morning and active, and then when I come back and revisit it later in the day, I have to slow down and get more finesse or get more methodical. So key area is a key area.
Great question.
You know,
Absolutely.
they're generally not going to move away. So
Absolutely.
let's take a commercial break,
Cool.
I think. Let me remind you, you're watching BU Live. This is a Tuesday live show for you guys. We've got some great info coming up. We want to hear from you. Please, if you've got questions or comments, send them through. And take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit of this system I developed that I think will
Yeah.
help you out a lot. So
Let's go.
hang in there with us.
What's going on? It's Riz here from the Bass University, and I am excited to welcome in Waterwood Custom Baits to the Bass U family. These are custom handmade baits in the South Rainforest of Brazil. They're made of Marupa pedra wood. It's extremely dense, it's resistant, but it's also really buoyant. They're made of quality components with a 100% guarantee. They're made for tournament anglers to get it done when the money is on the line. Guys, that was like my second cast with this bait. That's a Waterwood custom bait. These things are handmade in the rainforest south of Brazil. And I mean, as you can see right here, it's a fish catching bait. It's got the front hook. That means they wanted it. This bait's, it's running really true. It throws really well. Guys, check them out at waterwoodcustombaits.com.
Aquaview, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. Aquaview. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love catching fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
The drop shot rod, the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worman series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Bash U Live here on a wonderful Tuesday. Hope you're having a great day. We just had our very own Dean P. Gluszek on. It was nice to get a little update on what's going on down on Bugs Island on Kerr Reservoir. Got some great info, too, I think, on, rising water, what to do, and then deciphering what kind of stuff they're on when that water's flooded. So that's good information. And the great thing, if you're not a subscriber to Bash U and you're watching this, we have lots and lots and lots, thousands of tidbits of information like that on our site.
Releasing 3 new videos a week, guys.
Dude, that's incredible. 3
new videos a week. We're constantly keeping the information flowing. And we got some awesome ones actually coming out here soon. This week, we have Greg Hackney's Shallow Water Big 3.
Ooh.
We filmed that in Louisiana with Greg, Mike. So that was a strong seminar. If you're not signed up, that's one just to sign up for in and of itself. We got Andy Montgomery coming up soon on buzz baits. We have Bryant Smith, Elite Series rookie, how to power fish in the grass. So we got a lot of good stuff.
He just had a good tournament too.
Bryant Smith, yes, he did. He's having a decent start to the year.
Heck yeah,
California guy. He seems like he's comfortable in the spotlight. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. And if people are watching and listening, and they don't know how to sign up, how do they do it?
Go to bashu.tv and you can sign up today. And don't forget, when you do sign up, you do get our member benefits. We have great member benefits, but through missile baits, 30% off your first purchase, 25% off cash in rods. We have Rapala VIP program, Aquaview 30% off, Hobie Eyewear 25% off. You saw those sunglasses Pete was wearing today. They're Hobie Eyewear, and he loves them. Nickel Lures. We also have a new sponsor, Cortland Line, and they're giving you 25% off their Master Braid and Silent Flip.
Wow.
So Epoch batteries 10%. There's way more. So head over to bashu.tv and sign up today.
It's great. It like pays for itself, man. It pays for itself. And if you're watching and you pay like $25, $30 for one of those Japanese lures, dude, stop doing that and subscribe to BU because it's a better deal. All right.
Those fuzzy dice, you don't need them.
You don't need the fuzzy dice. Yeah. What's up with that thing? The cube with the I get it.
It's called
because
like the candy or something.
Yeah, well, see, I get the living like rubber or silicone is a great material. And it's, why has a skirted jig, a chatterbait been so spinnerbait been so good? Because I love the, it flows. It becomes alive, right? Yeah. But why a square? Why a cube? Like, I mean, like I can think of a million other shapes like outside a cube, unless it's how it falls. I've never seen it fall in the water.
What kind of like pops into my head is George Cochran said that the biggest factor in tournament bass fishing is pressure.
Right.
And I wonder if it's just like it's so off the wall and bizarre that fish have never seen it before.
Yeah. Could be.
That's like the only thing that really makes it that good. I don't know. I can't wrap my head.
I saw that on the Bassmaster, and I think his name was like Kyoya or something.
Height.
Yes.
Height.
He uses it and he swears by it. He calls it the candy.
It's crazy. Well, maybe one day we'll have a seminar on the fuzzy dice here on Bash U too.
For sure. Mike, you're off to a heck of a start this year, and we haven't had a chance to talk to you in quite a while. And a lot of stuff's happened since the last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
The first one is you're in the Hall of Fame, dude.
Hey!
Yeah.
Hold on, I almost fell out of my chair.
That's
Elizabeth,
right.
Elizabeth, I'm coming.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Huge honor.
man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's crazy. It's you have different feelings about it. The part of me is just like shocked. I would say is the best word. Still,
Right.
when you say it, it's like shocking because I don't feel like I am on the caliber of guys that are in that.
Oh, stop
group.
it. You
seriously.
are 100% deserve
Yeah, but
that. With everything you do for the sport.
Yeah, but I'm just
you
dirty
deserve it.
Jersey, and I just like the fish. But so part of me is still, I don't believe it. But the other part of me, man, very humbled to know that it's a good feeling to know that people appreciate what you're doing, and and I'm very proud of that. So, and that's a great group, man. I look at the names on that thing, and it's just an incredible list of anglers there and industry people. So,
what went through your mind when Bill Dance told you?
When Bill Dance told me, honestly, because Steve Bowman was there, and I've known Bowman for 30 years, and so your hero's telling you something that sounds so strange and bizarre and off the wall that my first thought was like, are they playing a joke on me? Like, I honestly think I even said that. Like, I didn't mean it to be like, I hope I didn't offend those guys, but I was like, I'm like looking around, like, are you kidding? Like, no, like, are you joking me? But it was amazing. Like, when Bill was telling me that, I'm like looking at him, and I get the sense now that he's serious. And there's Clun is right in front of the table that I was at, and to my left is Larry Nixon. Dude, it all just, I was hit with these emotions that, I'm not a guy that shows my emotions a lot, but it was an emotional moment for me.
Oh, really? You don't show your
I
emotions?
don't, well, I mean, not the tearing up
Yeah,
and
okay,
feeling
I gotcha.
sentimental like that.
Yeah.
But it was an unbelievable moment, experience. I'm so glad it happened like that.
Yeah.
Not through an announcement or through an envelope or something. Like, what a cool way to be put into that
really
group.
cool.
I mean, it's a lifetime of work. It's a body of work, and it's just another accomplishment because of the strategies and the approaches that you've taken to not only fishing, you've taken it to your business, you've taken it to your life in general.
Yeah.
And you're doing that again this year.
Yeah.
You're off to one heck of a start.
Yeah.
And you teased it a little bit at the beginning of the show. And
Yeah.
you told us a little bit about it at the Classic, and like you're kind of taking a different approach to your practices and your pre-practices.
Yes.
And I can't wait to hear about it. So let's
so let's get into it. And I want to start by saying I think there's like when I look at what happened last year and coming off literally probably the worst or second worst season of my entire career. So in 29 years of doing it full time, last year was a disaster. So, coming off of that and coming to a year where things are clicking, like there's two things that really stand out. And the one is a mindset. And I want to make sure I touch on that real quick. And then the second one is this thing that we're going to talk about, which I'm super excited to share with people. But the first one's the mindset. And when something's gone on, when you're engaged in something, it's happening. A lot of times you can't really understand how your mind and subconscious is working, right? It takes like time to look back on it. So when I look back on last year, it was my return to the elites. It was my return to bass fishing. I'd taken a 2-year break from competing at all, right? And I wanted to come back to bass last year and win. I wanted to come back and win a tournament. I wanted to have this, just wanted to come back to something I loved and win like right away. And subconsciously, it was such a bad mindset for me because I was like overachieving. I was swinging nonstop. I was looking for, just big ones, or I was just fishing the way that I don't fish, and I've never fished well like that. And I was doing it subconsciously. So that was a really bad thing. And I think the adjustment there that I made this year was getting back to a mindset of go into a tournament and fish to be consistent, fish to be competitive, fish for top 50s. Don't try to win, of course, every tournament you want to win.
Right.
But I'm going into these events thinking about finding groups of fish
Right.
finding fish to get me to fish to Saturday. Dude, Riz, Jocelyn, huge change of mindset for me. And that was a giant step. You know, and again, when it's happening subconsciously, it was so deep down, and like, I didn't think I was doing anything different last year. It took a whole year for me to step back and look at what I did and say, you know, this is what I was doing wrong. So you should be analytical in your fishing. I think it's important if you're watching, listening to this right now. I don't care if you fun fish or club fish or tournament fish or want to be a pro or whatever. Be analytical on your fishing, just like other athletes in other sports. You got to look back at what you've done wrong and be critical of yourself. If you can't do that, you're not going to improve, you know?
I've been trying to get into learning about fishing and learning from Bass University. And one of the seminars I started with, Pete tasked me with learning, was you fish the moment.
Fish the moment. Yeah.
And that I think you're starting to do again. And
starting to
I've
do
watched
again.
it.
Yeah. Trusting your voices, trusting your instinct. You know, all that, I think last year was not, I wasn't in the right mindset. Now, the second part, and this is the part where this is really going to get into what we're talking about today, is I got complacent, and you know, I just straight up tell you, you know, like, I think when you get older, maybe it's something that just happens on its own, you know, but I was getting complacent in the way I fished. I wasn't putting in the work, right? I wasn't pre-practicing. I wasn't researching like I used to research. I wasn't doing map study. I wasn't doing internet research. I wasn't looking at Google Earth. Like, I would kind of just show up at these events and say, well, I fished here, you know, 15 years ago. I'm good. I'll go out and I'll have 3 days, you know. And I think for me, you know, the old way I used to do it was working hard.
Yep.
In all those things, tackle preparation, you know, organization, like, and I got back to that work ethic. So being complacent was bad for me. But part of this work ethic is this practice routine that I developed, this pre-practice routine that I developed.
Something a little new, right?
Something that I've done, but I've modernized it. So it's old and new. And what it's done, and this is the great thing, if you're watching and listening, I want to make sure you understand that what I'm going to talk about, you can use in whatever way you want, right? You can use for tournaments, you can use for fun fishing. If you don't have the time to go scout a place 30 days before or a week before, whatever, you can still use this system as the tournament's happening. So it's just a great system. But Riz, I've come up with this system now that's working for me, where in 2 or 3 days using this system, I'm learning areas of a lake, and I'm learning everything in that area, almost to the point when I get back, I'm fishing the moment, letting the fish tell me what they're doing and what they're on.
Right.
And then I'm able to look at this map and say, oh yeah, there's 5 more over here, and there's this over there. And it's allowing me to fish a fishery with the utmost confidence without ever making a cast.
Right.
And that's what's key to the system. So I want to talk about that. I want to break it down. And a big thing in the system is, we all get into this sport because we love to fish. We love the art of casting. You know, it's opening the bail and, you know, flipping and that unknown. That's why I do it. But the amount that I can learn by studying my graphs and mapping and all that and idling in a 12-hour day without fishing is incredible. It's incredible, right? So
it's wild to hear you saying that.
So here's the system.
I know how much you like to fish.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I love to fish, but I'm forcing myself not to fish. So here's the system. I'm gonna try to break down and make it as simple as possible. And then I would love if you have questions or comments, if you're listening, please send them in. So here's the system in a whole. So when I going to a place, you know, the first thing I do is I'm getting back to this research mode that I'm in. So.
Right.
Lake Murray, a great example, Lake Murray. So I knew I was going to go to Lake Murray. I knew it was going to be mid to late April. So before I ever even went for my pre-practice at Lake Murray, I'm already thinking about what are the seasonal patterns going to be, right? So it's really then eliminating a lot of stuff that I don't have to look at, right? It's not a summer pattern. It's not a winter pattern. We're going to be there in mid to late April. It's going to be either a spawning, some phase of the spawn, or a blueback herring spawn, which happens late April, early May. So, researching to put my mind in the right place when I get there and start idling around, right? So I'm doing a lot of that. But then once I get there, I'm not getting overwhelmed by the fishery. This is a big one. And I really want to put a highlight on this. We just talked to Pete, 38,000 acres, Kerr Reservoir with 2-3 practice days. Dude, that's ridiculous. You cannot fish 38,000 acres of water.
Fish a third of it.
You can't. So what I'm doing is with a 3-day practice period, I'm literally picking 3 areas of the lake. I'm not trying to fish the whole area of the lake. I'm picking 2 or 3 areas of the lake, and I'm concentrating on those areas. So I'm eliminating water right off the giddy, right off the giddy. So important. I'm not trying to fish the whole entire fishery. So, I'm big on, I love mid-lake, and I say that a lot. I like mid-lake. Mid-lake is almost always one of the areas I will fish because mid-lake to me has the most versatility of any part of the lake. You have upriver, you have the dam, you have way back but mid-lake has elements of everything. So I love mid-lake. So mid-lake's almost always one of the 2 or 3 areas I'm picking. But once I pick that area, this is so important to what I'm doing. I'm getting in that area. I'm not fishing. I'm forcing myself to not fish. And a lot of times that means for me, I'm locking my rod lockers. I'm leaving the locker bar on my boat to force myself. Throwing the key away. But I'm not fishing. And when I get into this area that I've selected, let's call it mid-lake, I'm launching that boat and I am fishing everything from the bank out to the depth that I think that pattern will obtain, right? So, I'm not fishing 0 to 50 foot because that 30, 40, 50, that's summertime pattern, right? So that got ruled out. But I'm idling and looking at everything that's 0 to 20 foot. And I'm not ruling anything out. And so here,
because you're not fishing.
Because I'm not fishing, right? I've got a 10 to 12 hour day. I'm not making a cast. I'm spending the entire day staring at my graphs. Okay. So I've got my 2 units. I don't care what your Humminbird, Lowrance, Garmin, whatever you're running. I've got my 2 units. And again, you can modify this system to whatever. You got a kayak, you can modify the system, right? I'm looking at these graphs. And I've got on my right graph, I've got mapping and 2D sonar. On my left graph, I have side imaging and down imaging split. I split screen it not left to right, but up and down on top of each other. And on those 2 screens, I'm learning everything there is to learn about that area, about that particular area of that section of the lake. And
so everything gets a dot. Like if you see
everything gets a dot, right? So, I'm literally launching. If that launches in that midsection of the lake, I'm launching and I just begin to idle. And I just idle. And as I'm looking, I'm just sort of going from the bank out. I'm zigzagging. I'm, looking at key topographical pieces. I can see little points that stick out. I can see a flat. I idle the flats. And I'm marking everything that I see from visual with my eyes. Look at all this bank grass here has got 2 foot of water on it. Right. And everything that I mark gets a unique icon, gets an icon that is a unique symbol that I can identify, right? And I do it by remembering it, but you could write it down or you could develop this system, however you want to do it. But give you an example. So if I see bank grass that I like, it'll get a green money symbol. I go to my Lowrance, I got a green money symbol, boom, I hit my green money symbol. So now all the nice bank grass that I see that has a nice deep edge, I'll put a green money symbol on. As I'm idling around some of these points or off the bank a little, if I find a brush pile, a sunken brush pile or sunken log off the bank, it'll get a red X. If I'm idling a little further, I'm on a main lake point. Now I'm out in 15, 12, 15 foot of water, and I see rocks. It gets a yellow yield symbol, right? Just, I'm idling. I find a dock that has 8 feet of water on it and brush underneath of it. And it's got rod holders. It's got a light on it. Yeah, that's a good dock. It gets an exit symbol. It gets a stop sign. It gets what,
Right.
And so at the end of the day, I've been averaging, just to give you an idea. So I'm putting long days in. I'm putting 10 to 12-hour days in. I'm averaging about 500 to 600 waypoints a day. Okay. And I'm not afraid. So it's saved on the unit. It's saved on the unit until I leave that place, and then I put it onto chips.
Okay.
I do it just like if you were like a producer or an editor or a filmmaker.
Right.
I save it on multiple chips. I like back it up. So I'm taking care of all this work.
Back up.
Yeah.
Back up.
But I'm saving 500 to 600 waypoints a day, and I'm not afraid to lay waypoints down. So meaning like when I see a cluster of rocks, on my side imaging or down imaging, literally I'm touching each rock with my finger. And when you touch that rock with your finger, it puts the cursor exactly where that rock is. And I put a yellow yield. I see another rock a foot away, 2 feet away from it. I put another yellow yield. So I'm literally, dude, I've got the rocks marked where the rock exists to the spot. If there's 30 rocks there, I've marked 15 of them. Like literally, I've marked the 15 highest rocks in that area. I'm not afraid to lay the waypoint. So after 3 days, I've had 15 to 2,000 waypoints on my unit, all color coded, color coordinated. And dude, this system's allowing me to then, this is all now, this is again, where I want to stress that you can just utilize this however you're using it. The way that Bass rules are set up, I'm utilizing it. I'm trying to get 2 to 3 days at each location that I go to before it cuts off, which is 30 days before. But remember, you're not fishing. So prevalent pattern, who cares?
Right.
I'm not getting confused.
Right.
I'm focusing on what's on the bottom, focusing on contour changes, focusing on cover, focusing on structure, focusing on things that are different. And then when I get back for the tournament, there's 2 things going on. The one is my level of confidence now, because I don't have this dread feeling of, well, I wonder what's over there. I wonder what's, no, I freaking know what's there.
Right. And
I know, I don't want to sound, I would be careful the way I say this. I don't want to sound, because people will find a way to tear this up anyway, so it doesn't matter. I know that area of the lake as good as a guy that's lived there for 10 years in a day. And that day that I spent in that area of the lake, I know it as good as the guy that's lived there 10 years.
Right.
Because of the technology. It's not me. It's this technology and the way that I'm utilizing it, right? Yeah. So then when I get back, then this is where what Jocelyn said is really kicking in. I'm allowing myself to fish the moment.
Right.
And I'm not ruling nothing out.
Let the fish talk.
I'm letting the fish talk.
And then
dude, my mindset, that first cast of the first morning of the practice, I'm fishing everything in sight. From an inch of water on the bank out to 20 foot. And I'm just cycling through which of these things they're on. And then when that fish gives me a clue,
then
I can run with it.
Yep.
Or I can develop that pattern and then find a secondary pattern.
Right.
By looking at these icons, dude.
It's like you're getting so much power in the information that you're gathering.
Yes.
But the fact that you're leaving unknown is allowing you to fish free and fish the moment, because when you're at pre-practice, you're not allowing yourself to fish. You're not allowing yourself to get going down a road of preconceived notions when you come back.
Right.
All you have in your head is information.
Right.
You know these areas, what they have to offer, the different types of habitat, and you haven't started to formulate an idea of what's happening, so that when you get back there, bing, the light bulb goes off.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. And I want to stress again that like I'm really concentrating and paying attention to things that are different.
Right.
And that's I really want you guys watching right now to think about that when you're looking at your graphs, is change, man.
Yep.
Lake
What's
Seminole.
The best idle speed for you?
The best idle speed is I would call it I'm not idling dead slow.
Right.
But I'm not idling to where I'm throwing off a massive wake because your units, your sonar and your down imaging and side imaging perform best at slower speeds.
Right.
So I would call it like a fast idle. So I'm
Fast
not
idle,
on
right.
pad
Right.
and I'm not creeping.
Right.
I would call it a fast idle.
Right.
Is my optimal speed. But I'm idling. I'm looking for change. Give an example of that is Lake Seminole. The area that I ended up finding where I did so well the first and second day, I never fished there. But in pre-practice, I found basically it was a ditch that ran next to the bank in this one section of the lake. And I was able to sort of know where this ditch ran, and this ditch ran out and it touched this little point and then it shot out into the lake. Just marked it. And that's the area that I fished in the tournament and did so well. Dude, every single, this is just proof of the system. Every single tournament I fished this year, all 4 elite events, the areas that I fished, I found in pre-practice and never caught a fish there. I found these areas without ever making a cast.
Right.
And it's such a strong system, man. I can't tell you.
Now, does this system work with if you've been to a lake so many times? Do you try different places, or do you still focus on those 3 spots?
Yeah. So this system's worked. Every single one of these lakes that we've been to this year, I've been to before, but I'm starting over again.
Gotcha.
I'm not bringing
Re-educating
back any of
yourself.
my waypoints. I'm literally starting over and fishing fresh. And some of these, like a brush pile or a sunken log or weeds, some things can move, some things will stay. A rock pile's not going anywhere,
Right.
but a brush pile can
be
move. A
moved,
brush
yeah.
pile that you had 10 years ago might not be there. Grass surely moves around, right? So, finding that key stuff has been really important. But having an understanding of how to use it, like that's a big picture too, right?
Right.
Like I'm taking that information and then I'm using it to my advantage when I get to a fishery,
Nick
awesome.
Nick
That
Mayberry.
was a whole, however long that was, the whole thing was blow your head off. Like that was like, this might have been.
Yeah, it's an incredible it's an incredible system, and again, like I'm not trying to advocate that everyone takes 3 days off of work to go pre-practice for a tournament or whatever, right? Like this is my job. I am freaking balls to the wall right now. Like I want AOY this year, and I wanted that before I ever made a cast this year, and I'm working for it. So, but you can utilize a system to fit your style, to fit what you're doing, right? Yeah. We got a question, Joss.
Nick Mayberry wants to know.
Yo, Nick.
I still want to know how Ike doesn't throw a line out. Are there any tips on how not to fish that
Don't
time?
bring
It seems
rods.
impossible to do.
It's super, super impossible. It's so impossible. I don't know. I think the thing that I just am really so focused in pre-practice on, learning what's down there. And honestly, like, this is going to sound ridiculous because you're idling around for 12 hours. Like, oh yeah, take some calls, make some social posts. Dude, I turn my phone off. I don't like, I am so focused on watching those 2 graphs. Like my biggest problem after the 3rd day is my neck hurts from just, you get like a Tommy Biffle neck, from watching those graphs. But it's information, man. It's information, and it's trying to learn stuff that the other guys won't figure out, won't learn.
It's a massive amount of information that still allows you to fish the moment when it matters.
Allows you to fish the moment, and it allows you to fish the moment when it matters. Because what does it matter if you go and find a fish a week before, or a month before? It doesn't matter because things are going to change. That doesn't matter. So it allows me to know where everything is. And then fish the moment at that point in time.
Just let the fish.
And here's the other great thing about it. You can even know, having all that information, if things go south, you can change on the fly. So like, just an example from this last tournament I fished on Santee. I was so dialed in this area on this eelgrass pattern. And Riz, I knew where every little key corner of that eelgrass was at. I knew where every ditch ran. I knew everything. But when I felt that eelgrass go away, I was able to just zoom out and be like, oh yeah, but there's a brush pile over here that I found. Go over there, throw a drop shot, boom, catch my 5th keeper, 14-incher. Settles me down, get back to the grass, boom, catch a 6-pounder. You know what I mean? So this system's not only giving you the right pattern for that moment, but it's giving you the ability to let go and go fish other stuff,
Right.
which is really good, man. It's really good.
Are you on your trolling motor as well? Will wants to know.
So at times when I get into a really key area, I have dropped my trolling motor. More often than not, when I'm on my trolling motor, it's when I'm looking for visual clues with my eyes. This is the other thing that's important, guys. So this work that I'm doing is not just with those units, but it's with my freaking eyes too, dude. It's with my eyes, right? So you're out there idling, you're on a flat, man, you're not seeing nothing. But like you look and you're like squinting and you're like, what is that? Is that a bird? Is that a turtle? And it's a stob. It's just one little stick that comes up that's, the size of a baseball bat, but it's anchored to the bottom. Dude, I idle over there. I run the freaking thing. I drop my trolling motor, run the freaking thing over and drop a waypoint on it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or I'm up shallow and I'm visually looking for isolated grass clumps. I'll use my trolling motor. But I would say 75% of the time this work is on the outboard, is when the outboard's running.
At the console.
At the console. Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't use any underwater cameras or anything to help?
I'm not using, I think if you're watching this and listening to this, I think you could develop this system even further. I think like an with more time and with better tools, you could advance this system, right? So like if I had, the other thing too, for me, 3 days, 2-3 days is the number because it's all the time I have. Right. So I'm working on this very limited schedule. But if I had 5 or 6 days, I would love to drop a camera down and get a real good view of it. And I could add notes right to my unit. I could click on that waypoint. I could add notes to the waypoint. I could write, if you're old school, you could actually write notes. So I think you could take this system and make it even better. But this is the system that I have that's working for me with my schedule with 3 days. I've got these quick little 2-3 days hits, and then I got to go.
We actually have a ton of subscribers that don't have graphs. What recommendations would you use for them?
Yeah. So anglers watching, listening, if you're a bank angler, John boat, canoe, kayak, whatever, there's some things, and it's about learning. It's about making notes. The one thing I would recommend is if you don't have a graph, you don't ever want to own a graph, I'd recommend getting, this is going to sound ridiculous, but a marker buoy, a handheld GPS, a way to identify that spot. At the very least, write notes to be able to go back and triangulate that spot, Like the old thing I used to do, it's like, you'd line up, there's an oak tree, and you have to line it up with the back door of the house and, to learn that cast or that spot. But the other things hold true, which is you're not eliminating anything, right? You're fishing from the bank out to 20 feet. You're identifying where everything's at. A lot of it's you're going to do with your eyes. A lot of it you're going to do with the bait. And before graphs ever got good, that's why I was saying this system's old, but it's new. Because I was doing this before I even had graphs. Like before I ever had my first Lowrance, I was doing this, but I was doing it with the bait.
Right.
So like you're reeling a crankbait. You're reeling, you're going down the bank. You're not catching anything. But all of a sudden, what's that? You reel it in, got a clump of coontail on there. Huh. The next 5 casts, you get coontail, and then you keep casting. There's no, so you're using the bait to identify those areas. And remember, change. I don't care if you have a depth finder or not. If you find areas that are different, that are change, a rise, a drop, something different, that's where the fish are going to be. Fish are almost never on an area that has no unique feature to it at all.
Right.
They're almost always on something that's unique.
Right.
An area change. Yeah.
Eric would like to know, with this system, how has your technique/lure section changed over the last year? Do you still carry a panic box? And what is your go-to bait if you absolutely need it?
Yeah, great question. So, the way that I'm carrying lures and utilizing lures has not changed. So I'm the guy that carries a lot of stuff. I'm the guy that carries lures that can cover 0 to 30 foot. I'm the guy that carries finesse and power fishing baits. That's how I categorize the two. But at the same breath, this year, you always want to fish toward a pattern that suits your style, that fits your strengths. And I've been doing that a lot better this year. And, I'll just tell it to you. You ready? Here it goes. I'm not a very good sight fisherman, right? I'm not a very good sight fisherman. So in these last 2 or 3 events, there were a lot of spawning fish, right? I elected to not fish that because I'm better at pre and post spawn fish. And so that's helped me because I'm not wasting time doing something that I don't love to do.
Right.
Now, if I'm out there fishing the moment and it's the only thing I got going, yes, of course, you're going to go do that. But I've really been trying to utilize baits and techniques that I'd like to do that fit my style.
Right.
So crankbait has been a giant player for me this year. Chatterbait has been there's a look at one that is absolutely mauled. Chatterbait, power fishing techniques have been really big for me this year.
Yeah.
Finesse, which is my second love. Dude, at Okeechobee, a freaking wacky rig on a spinning rod saved me at Okeechobee in a place where everybody's big lining them. So, you know, I'm carrying a lot of stuff because at the end of the day, and this is the great thing if you're a BU subscriber, you're going to be able to really dig into these different baits and tools and techniques. But I'm looking at my spectrum of baits and saying, what's the best tool for this eelgrass that's in 4 to 6 feet of water?
Mm-hmm.
What's the best tool for this blueback herring bite that's gone on points that have rib rock on them? What's the best tool for this ditch that runs alongside of this reed point heading into the spawning bay, right? Like I'm trying to look at my body of lures and saying, what's the best tool? That's really what you need to do, you know? But if you can fish toward your strengths, God, do it. Cause it ups your level of confidence, you know? Yeah.
Stevie would like to know.
Yeah, Stevie.
How do you use this method for giant tidal places like the Sabine?
Yeah, giant tidal places like Sabine, the bigger the place, you know, the more the task seems daunting. But I'm going to utilize it the same way. Fishing a giant tidal system, you cannot fish the whole entire place. So, you know, I'm going to break the Sabine down into 2 or 3 areas, right? That's my magic number, 2 or 3 areas. I'm not going to try to fish 6, 7 areas of the Sabine. I'm not going to try to go to Houston and then go to the border of Louisiana and then go to Taylor's Creek. I'm not going to try to do it all. I'm going to pick a couple, 2, 3 areas, and I'm going to concentrate on those areas, right? But in that area, I'm going to know where everything's at, right? I'm going to know, man, are they on undercut, you know, are they on undercut banks? I know where the undercut banks are. Are they scattered pads? Where are scattered pads? I know where scattered pads. I know where everything's at with this system.
Mm-hmm.
And within that area, you know, I'm going to figure those fish out. So I'm not getting overwhelmed by the fishery. You know, I'm fishing smaller areas, but in those smaller areas, I'm identifying every different piece of whatever they could be on.
Right.
Different structure, different cover, where it's located, how it's set up. I've got it all. It's in my book. I just pulled my book out. Here's my book.
You know.
I know. It's there, you know. It's there. It's shaving a lot of time for me, man. That's a big thing, you know. It's shaving a lot of time.
Right.
It's
keeping you inside your strengths.
It's keeping me inside my strengths. And you know,
I feel like sometimes one of the worst things we can do as tournament fishermen is damage our confidence in an area when really there was no reason to, like in a pre-practice type of setting.
Right.
Like, you can go into an area and not get bit in there, and it's just because the time of the year is wrong.
Right.
But when you go back, you're gonna think about that area in a different way.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get bit in there. And it just sometimes it's better to not fish in an area and just know what it has to offer.
Yeah.
And then when it matters, that's when you can apply.
Yeah.
it.
And here's the thing. I do want to stress this. 2 things. The one is this is a system that's really worked for the way that my mind operates. Right. So I'm never going to say like this is the perfect system. Like this isn't for everyone. A lot of guys, John Cox is a great example, has his own system. And dude, you cannot deny the success of that.
Right.
And it's totally different than my system.
Sure.
But my system for me, I'm anxiety ridden. I'm a bit of a weird freak. I got issues and I get overwhelmed very easily.
Right.
And this has helped me with that. It's calming me down. When I get there, dude, I know where the gas station's at. I know where the ramps are at. I know I get there. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm dialed already. You know, I'm just going, now I just have to find what the fish are doing for this moment in time.
Yeah.
Everything else is done.
That's
so
awesome.
it's working. You know, it's working for me. And here's the second part to this. And this will bring it full circle for you guys. It gets back to that strategy change of my mindset. When last year I was fishing for home runs every time, winning fish, big fish. This year, listen to me, you ready? This year, this system helps me find groups of fish in an area, right? Groups of fish in an area. And Pete said it, right? When you find a group of fish, dude, you're going to catch enough fish to make the top 50, right? Because it's a group of fish. They ain't gone nowhere. I'm not catching sink. Like, these are areas that I'm identifying that the fish live in this area. And if the fish live in this area, they're on grass. I know where the grass is at. They're on rock. They're on wood. What are they on? I know where that's at. And those fish aren't leaving. Those fish are. So I'm fishing for groups of fish. And man, it's helped me stay in that top 50 every event, you know? And I honestly feel like that if you do that enough, you're going to have a chance to win.
Oh yeah.
You know, the potential for me to win, was there at 3 of the 4 events this year, especially Murray and Seminole. I had the potential to win.
Absolutely.
And fishing for groups of fish, not fishing for winning fish, fishing for groups of fish. Yeah. Very important.
There's a lot to digest there. That was awesome. Any more questions, Josh?
No, I mean,
I'm like, I can't even speak. I'm going back. So
I think that's everyone basically on the message board right now is just
well, here's
the
other thing. When I retire, I had planned on retiring earlier, but I think I'm going to go down on about 60 or 65. After I retire, if you guys are interested, keep up on my website and I'll be selling these waypoints, all of them, but not till I'm like 65. So if you're interested in buying any of these chips, keep in touch with me for the next 15 years. So we'll talk about this.
That's awesome.
This is totally separate, but I really did want to ask this question for our subscriber that is here every Tuesday. His name is Tuck, and he is fishing the high school world championship in June on the Mississippi River in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Do you have any tips for him?
Yeah. When is he fishing? What time of the year?
June.
Oh yeah, Mississippi River, La Crosse, Wisconsin in June. Man, what a great river. That's a place that is so loaded with fish. It's got largemouth and smallmouth. So in June, you know, in my mind, in June on the Mississippi River, you have fish that are coming from the spawn. So definitely going to be more of a post-spawn bite. I'm looking for areas that are, you know, near the spawning ground. So, you know, those backwaters are going to be really key. Now, whether the fish are still in the backwaters or they're just coming out of the backwaters, they're the kind of areas I'm looking for. The other thing I want to tell you about the Mississippi River in June is this. You ready for this? Water level. Just like Pete's dealing with a Kerr Reservoir right now, water level is everything. And when that water is high on the Mississippi River, I want to be up. I want to be throwing, you know, up in the stuff. I want to be frogging, flipping. I want to be out and up in the backwaters. But if in June that water level is low, I don't want to be up and in the backwaters. I want to be out. And I'm more prone to start heading toward the main channel if that water's low. And rock jetties, sandbars, ends of sandbars, places that as the water drops, the fish sort of get sucked out to. So post-spawn fish, the water's high, get up there, frogging, flipping. The water's low, out more on the main drag, Carolina rigging, cranking, stuff like that. So there's a good tip. One last thing I want to tell you about the system, and then I'm done. And it's if anybody's...
You're done until we do a full seminar.
Yeah, until we do a full seminar. If you're watching this and you're aspiring to fish professionally, or if, you know, whatever, or if you're I know we have a lot of kids watching, high school kids, college kids watching and listening to this podcast. I want to tell you this, and it connects to this system, is this system allows you to get your own dots. Learn to make your own dots. Make your dots. Get your own dots. Don't take dots, okay? Don't take the easy way out. Dude, everybody wants to give you dots. You got a buddy who wants to send you dots, blue dots. Don't take them dots. Go make your own dots. Dude, that's how you become a better fisherman. Go work for your own dots. Go lay your own dots down. It's going to make you better, dude. You get into that rhythm of laying your own dots down, of creating them yourself. Don't get in the habit of taking dots. Don't do that, man. Make your own dots.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Just to touch on kids fishing, I wanted to talk about the Ike Foundation a little
Oh,
bit
heck
with
yeah.
you. We're really excited because on May 20th, we are going to do our Ike's tournament trail. And if you're a kid and you want to learn how to fish, or you already know how to fish, this is great for you.
Oh,
We'll pair you up with a boat captain. We'll take you out.
Good
We'll
outlet. Yeah.
teach you. It's great. The Ike Foundation is great for this. And if you are not a kid and you're an adult and you want to help the Ike Foundation, we are going to be doing our annual Pro-Am on the Chesapeake Bay on June 10th.
Yes.
Head over there, sign up. You could win a Bass Cat boat,
Yep.
the Yamaha motor. We have power poles. We have cash prizes, so many prizes, and the best part about it is your donation will get kids fishing in the outdoors. So
Yep.
I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So
Yep.
we'll
Yeah.
see you at those
important.
events.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And of course, Chesapeake Bay, Riz, time of the year. I think it's. I went back and looked. It's like June 10th or something,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
June 10th.
Mhm.
Yep.
Great time of year to be there. That's going to be
Outstanding.
rocking. If you live in this tri-state area, you got to go fish that event for a boat and motor. And then the kids tournaments, man. Schedule's good this year.
It is.
Schedule's really good. Like
the
we,
Lums Pond. event, you
Lums
guys are giving
Pond
away,
is our first one in
you're
May.
giving- You're giving out tackle packs.
We
to
do.
all
We
kids.
Yeah.
and rods and some gift cards to some
It's a good
winners.
tackle pack too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It is.
yeah. So definitely, man. If you know a kid that he wants to go fishing, or needs a way to go fishing, we've got the boats there. So sign them up. It'll be a good time for sure. So
Yeah, definitely. If you want to learn more, just go to the IkeFoundation.org and it's all right there.
Awesome.
Epic Eric said, "Go Ike Foundation. It's a great event. We hope to
Sure
see you
is.
there, Eric."
heck yeah.
We ready to give some stuff away, John?
Yeah, let's get some stuff away, man.
We
got
are.
prizes here. Look at these
So
prizes.
how about we do the like and share and then go to break and then we'll come back with a trivia question? Or do you have the trivia
I
question
have
ready?
the trivia questions ready to go. If we can, we
So
can
we're
probably just roll right into them.
We're doing 2 or 1.
We do two.
All right,
We'll do 2 raffle packs.
Since Mike and Pete are both Rapala guys, we wanted to share the Rapala wealth and do 2 trivia questions
Yep.
today.
Ooh.
So while you pull the trivia questions and I'll pull the like and share winner.
Okay, awesome. All right, so our first trivia question is going to be related to Mike's pre-practice system, and the question is: he uses unique color-coded symbols for the findings in his pre-practice. I need to know, what are the color-coded symbols for bank grass, wood, and rock?
I know.
What are the color-coded symbols for bank grass,
I wrote 'em
wood,
down.
and rock? And guys, I need you to label them in the answer. Bank grass, wood, and rock. Label each one. And it's got to be in the same text. Don't send it to me in 9 different messages. Put it all in the same one. And like I see some good answers coming in, but they're all spread out. It's got to be in the same text, guys. Bank grass, wood, and rock. What are the symbols?
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Guys are scrambling right now to
Yeah.
write. They're typing as fast as they can. They're breaking fingernails. You got to go get a manicure now tomorrow because their fingernails cracked. All waited to quick.
I want to give a shout out to Miguel. He's watching from Portugal.
Yo, Miguel.
And we do have a like and share winner. Our like and share winner is Sean Forrest. Sean Forrest, send me an email and I will get you the missile baits.
That is correct. Congrats,
Somebody
Sean.
was close. but we
Congrats,
haven't
Sean,
seen it
on the
yet.
like and share. Congrats, Sean. Heck yeah.
Oh, we got so many guys close. All right. Hold on.
Wait, I definitely see an answer.
You do? Let me see. I'll tell you if it's the right one.
I see this one. Wait, yellow.
I'm
No,
seeing
that's
some,
wrong.
I'm seeing some that are close, but they're not. They're not exact.
They're.
Oh, okay. Hold on. No.
I mean, that's
Paulie's-
pretty close.
Which one?
Yeah.
He's close, but that's not. It's not exact. I know what you
Yeah. I know what I said, but they're close.
said. Paulie B.
Paulie B!
They got it in right.
Yo, Paulie.
Green money sign for grass.
Yes.
Yellow caution for rock.
Yes.
Red X for wood.
There you have it. Yo,
That's it.
Paulie.
Nice
Paulie
job,
got
Paulie
it.
Batters.
Paulie in the house.
Good.
Send me an email.
Good work. Good work. Good
Paulie,
work,
you got
Paulie.
some Rapala stuff coming your way.
All right,
Paulie.
next question for the Rapala is, during Pete's interview, we
Yep.
talked about what the current water level was on Kerr Lake, Bugs Island.
Ooh.
I even flashed a Kerr Lake water level screen up with the exact water level. So what is the water level on Kerr Lake right now? That's going to be the next one. Answers are flying in. Not seeing it right yet, though, but we're getting close. Oh, Mitch got it. 303.6. That means the water is in the bushes. 3036.
3036. Water's in the bushes.
That's
correct.
Right.
This was a great show, and we're really, really happy that you were able to be our host today.
Oh, it was awesome. It was nice being back. I appreciate you guys having me, and I'm glad I could share that. I hope it helps. Maybe it helps some people.
Yep.
And it was fun. I had a lot of fun talking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Did we gave away the like and share?
We sure did.
Mike, thanks for joining us again.
You got it. Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Pete Gluszek for taking some time out. I wouldn't have done that because I'm paranoid about using every minute of practice. So, so we love our Dean for taking some time out, and appreciate you guys for watching. Before we go to, just a reminder, 3 new pieces of content a week. Is that right?
That's right.
I'm still blown away by that because that's incredible. Sign up, man. If you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, you're listening to this, you're not a subscriber, dude, this helps. You heard me talk about the research. This is a form of research, right? You know, you go into a place, you know, flipping's going to be a pattern, you know, shallow water tactics is going to be a pattern. You got to hear this hacking seminar. You have to. Yep. It's critical. So sign up. It's a great program. And how do they sign up again?
Go
Website?
to bashu.tv.
Bashu.tv. There you have it. Guys, appreciate you watching. Hope you had a good time, and we'll see you next week for another show. So